Hello. Hey, everybody. It's time for another lesson, and I am ready. So I thought I would just kind of tour around a little bit and show you. This week, the lesson is on cups. I think I originally said a Christmas cup or a cup filled with something Christmassy or holiday-esque. And I'm going to tag you guys really quick. So that's what this is going to be about. I'm tagging everybody. I had a printout, I had a plan, and I don't know where I laid the printout. I hope I tagged everybody just now. But I'm going to turn the camera around. This is what I want to paint today in a cup. You know, just some, these are fake, you know, berries and green foliage like this, with just a real, like, painterly looking white cup. And, you know, like we always say, white is never white. So I'm going to have hints of maybe fluorescent pink or mint green on there. And I wanted to just talk a little bit about other things I've done in the past on this subject, cups, like a cup. And I've done a few. So there's one over here on the wall. I'm going to just turn the camera around. Hello, hello. Somebody's here with me. So I have this up on my wall. This is a collage piece. If I kind of get down here, you can see the texture of the glued on. These are painted papers. And some of it is rice paper that I've torn. Like this is kind of sheer looking there because it's rice paper. This was off of a tea bag, I think. I've got little words in there. The cool thing about this is these are hand painted. This is that iridescent watercolor medium I mentioned a couple days ago that I painted on top of a painted rice paper. Here's a scrapbook paper. Just, you know, all kinds of things. Well-being. So this was titled Potato Soup Comfort. And it's in a cup. It's a mug of soup. So, you know, that's one interesting way of painting a cup, or that I've done in the past. Here's another one. You know, it's a top view of a cup. We're looking down into a cup of coffee, and I used my Cricut to put the lettering on there. And then of course there's a literal cup, which you guys have seen this lesson. You know, we painted an actual cup. And let's see, I've got a couple more involving collage. So I'm going to bring you back to my work table here and show you these. Hey, Tammy, how are you? And yes, thank you for your feedback on, you know, the whole messenger thing. I think the camera's blurry. Now I'm craving, I know I love potato soup. Yeah, there was a little bit of haze on there. So yeah, I got this at Hobby Lobby. I got these berries and this at Hobby Lobby. And I have this, you know, on a table in my front, when you walk in the front door of the house. So I took a picture, printed it out, and I don't know where I laid that that print. I was just going to show you guys the print and refer to that on camera, but oh well, you know how it is. So here's an idea. Collage, you know, collage, it's so much fun. Painted papers. I don't think I've ever really gone into that. I don't know. I mean, I guess if you've never seen anybody do painted papers, it's worth watching somebody do. It's time consuming and messy, but once you have them, it's great. If you don't feel like painting your own papers, what I did, let me just digress on that part for a second. You might get some ideas out of this, because collage really is fun. And you know, collage just basically means gluing things down, gluing down. It's a great mixed media thing. mixed media itself can be so freeing. So I bought these containers at Dollar Tree. They're just little organizer bins, right? And I've got them grouped by color of the painted papers that I've created. So here's blues, here's greens, reds, and I've got neutrals. It's probably the green is really yellow, or one of these is, you know, so it's probably the primaries. Or actually, no, the yellows are with the neutrals. I guess I got mixed up. So, like in my neutrals with my yellows, I've got book pages, brown paper bags. I've painted a little bit on the back of some of them. I've got, you know, what do you call these? Again, you know, sewing, what are those called? Oh my goodness. Newspaper clippings. Like beigey, you know, scrapbook papers. Here's some, you know, all kinds of things. Boxes, tea bags, you know, you name it. And then there's yellow in the bottom. So I have them kind of grouped there. Sorry, that was Trish calling me. I don't think she realized I was doing a live. Sorry about that. So, okay, that was yellows. Same thing with the blues and the reds. So once you have these, and there's all different ways of painting your papers. You can stamp things on, you can brush it on, you can use template, stencils, you can use vegetables. Here's some kind of ring that I stamped on. You can use a jelly plate, and all of that. So, so I've got these lovely colors, and these I used golden acrylic paints, or, you know, professional grade paints. So the nice thing about these is that they won't fade. When you use professional grade paint, it's better than using scrapbook papers, because scrapbook papers are not light fast. You know, they're going to fade over time. Whereas a paper that you've used professional grade paint with, it's going to stay brilliant color for a long time. So that's one reason why you would paint your own papers. And you can tear those and show the tear marks or not, depending which way you tear it. So anyway, what you can do is just design a couple of cup template shapes like I did here. Like here is a template that I created out of, this is the wrapper that comes on a canvas. Here's a different shape cup, like a shallower cup. I've cut out all kinds of shapes as stencils. Here's some stars. Here's another kind of mug, and so on. Here are some where you see that I actually cut it out of a paper. I guess I wound up not using it, but I could literally take these cups and, you know, glue them down on something and paint over it if I want. Oops, wrong way. So, I mean, it's kind of cool, right? Here's another, you know, you can have all different kind of cup shapes. And so that's what's in this bin here. Let me turn the camera down so you can kind of, oh, wrong way, wrong, turn down. Sorry. I don't know if I want to show it this way. No, I may as well stay right side up. So here's my little bin. This is probably a mushroom bin, and I've got all kinds of templates in here of things that I've created in the past, you know, that I just wanted to save. I've got punch outs from different punches that I have, flowers. I hand cut these leaf shapes. I made painted papers and cut out leaf shapes. Leaf shapes are very easy to cut with scissors. Just cut one side and then the other. And you could have tons and tons of leaf shapes. Like here's a bigger version of a leaf shape. And what you can do with that shape, here's some hearts. And this I cut out of, this Mylar you can get at Hobby Lobby. If you're ever teaching a class and you need a really sturdy template, or, you know, for whatever, maybe you're not teaching in class, but you're painting a wall filled with hearts and you want a nice sturdy template, you can buy this template Mylar at Hobby Lobby. So let me just show you what you can do with those leafy shapes like that. Kind of digressing here. But look what you could do. You could do something like that where you just glue them all down together and put this on a table as a centerpiece, you know, kind of cute, right? Very easy to do this. And then what I did with these cups, let me put these back in my bin and I'll show you some artwork. Here's a, you know, bird. Sometimes it's fun to just create these shapes. So here's some artwork. Oh no, I need to flip it, right? So here's some artwork. This is just, so it's acrylic paint, scrapbook paper. Here's a piece of ribbon I hot glued. I hot glued coffee beans, and then I outlined it with metallic marker. You know, hearts, stamped letters. You could certainly hand letter yours if you wanted to. And it's a cute little piece. This would look cute in any kitchen. Here's another one. Same idea. Scrapbook paper, paint on the background, stamped lettering, collaged cups, and then I outlined them with a marker, I believe. You know, and that's just, you know, a little bit of messing around. Who knows what you might come up with doing this on your own, right? And the coffee beans are pretty cool. And then you could even resin over that, I suppose, if you wanted to. Here's another mushroom bin with shapes. I've got birds, you know. This makes a really cute spring decoration. I don't think I have them, but you know, certainly it could be music-ish. You could put this on tags. You could put the, I mean, you know, there's just a whole nother bin filled with these shapes in you know, every conceivable type of paper. So, all right. But we're not going to do collage today. I just thought I would give you that as an idea on, you know, something else you can do as far as cups. Yeah, Valentine's, you know, you can mix your mediums together. Have some paint, have some paper, you know, stamp some lettering on and all that. So let me just put this stuff kind of back, and I'm going to start painting with you here. I thought today we could do this on watercolor, just because it's faster. So I've got a sheet of watercolor paper all set. This is that tag board, also known as cardstock paper. And have you ever seen somebody has done these where it's just beautiful different colors and patterns on these cups? And this would be such an adorable giant painting, you know. Again, you could take one of those Mylar coffee cup shapes. What if you did a giant painting and traced the coffee cup shape and then just fill each one in with a different technique of paint, you know, or, you know, add some metallics or splatters or whatever, each cup a different look. Have you seen that one? I love that. I've always wanted to do a piece like that. And then I don't know, I was in this mood watching TV and I just felt like making whatever. And so I started drawing out. I don't feel like holding stuff up. Let me turn this way. I just started drawing out some cups, you know, and some days that's just all I feel like doing. You know, Sharpie marker on cardstock, very low key, just getting my hands moving. You know, I could use these for like a very rough color concept, a rough draft. Maybe I want to just kind of figure out the key, what key I want to use in a painting. And when we're talking about the key of a painting, we're talking about the relative colors and values of a painting. So there's high key, mid key, and low key. Some days I feel kind of low key. I think this is one of those days, but I'm trying. So, you know, I don't know if you've ever heard of the key. Like, have you ever looked at some paintings and it's just really looks very much of one color, very, very green. Like it's just, that would be keyed in green. Or maybe it's all like Monet's paintings. A lot of Monet's paintings were high key paintings, and they were light and bright, clean colors. But you know, the downfall of a high key painting is that it's not high contrast, it's not dramatic, it's lighthearted, it's soft, it's ethereal. You know, that's the feeling he wanted to get across with his, oh my goodness, what were they all called? Monet's lilies, the lilies, you know, he painted hundreds of them. You know, mid-key would have its assets and low-key would have its. Like a low-key painting, you know, a painting that's done in just the darker values. So let me grab some references here, since we're talking about something just a little technical. So now this value scale, the numbers go from 1 being black to 10 being white. And sometimes I've seen value scales, usually they're the other way around, where white is 1 and black is 10. I don't know why this one is this way, but whatever, as long as we know. A high key painting would be 3 or 4 values, maybe 4 or 5 values even. Well, look, there's 5 values on this half, 5 values on this half. I've been in classes where people teach that everything that's on one side of the value scale, like this, everything on this side, this side would be the shadow. Everything on this side would be in light. That's one way of doing it. And literally while you are painting, the reason why it has these keyholes in here is so that you can literally hold that up right over your swatch of paint and see what value it is, because it's really hard to tell sometimes. And then of course you'd squint your eyes down really low and look at it. You know, you'd really squeeze your eyes tight, compare. And so let me just grab a couple of color paint swatches, you know, the kind you get at the paint store. I guess I'm doing a little bit of a teaching lesson here. And this is kind of a fun little thing to do. And you might know this stuff already, but it's not going to hurt you to review it, right? So I've just got a whole stack of paint swatches here. And some are going to be really clear cut for you. So if I put this right over it, can you read it? Yeah. If I put this right over it, now this paint swatch is actually even darker than my value finder. So obviously it is a 1. It's definitely a very dark value. No problem. Easy peasy, right? That's an easy one. How about this one? You know, if you had to guess what this is, I have no idea, to be honest. Well, I know it's none of these. Like, look how dark that is when I look through the keyhole. But so then I got to put it over on this side and I got to really squint. Okay, so let me look at it this way and squint. It is about, I would say, it's between these two. It's between these two. Probably this one. Yeah, it kind of gets lost in there. Like definitely here, the blue looks lighter. Here, I can't see the edge of it as much. That's what I look for. Where does the edge of the keyhole get lost? And it kind of gets lost more in this one. Here, there's not a strong difference. Here there is. Oh, I keep going the wrong way. Here it looks like a darker keyhole. So that's what you would do to figure it out. Let's go with pink, this pink color. Let's see what this is. I got to look at it this way. Same thing. It seems to be around a value of 3, I think. Oh, maybe not. Maybe I'm being weird. No. Very hard on camera. It seems like it's this one. Okay, let's pick some lighter ones. Here's a light pink. Definitely not one of those on the dark side. Go over to the light side. And where does it get lost? I'd say it's a 9. I'd say it's a 9 right here, this one. So that's kind of a cool thing to do. And if you're going to key your painting in like a high key, you would use, you know, maybe just these 4 values or so. Most of your painting is going to be these values in whatever color. We're not talking about color, we're talking about values. You know, it would be really light values. So I could literally go to my paint swatches and pick only colors that would fall in there. Like maybe this looks a little darker. The peach is darker than the pink. You never heard of key? Wow. Good. I'm glad I'm teaching you something, Tammy. Because pretty soon it's going to get to where you know everything. And it's kind of nice to learn something new. Okay. So which one is this peach? It looks like it's at least a shade darker than the pink, right? That's another way I could do it. I could just take a bunch of these and figure out, like this one's even darker still. I'm going, you know, light, darker, darker. We get one more that's even darker. Maybe it's, but not too dark, you know. Maybe it's this. So you can see how it goes from light to darker, but still, if I put this over this, maybe I went too dark on that one. Yeah. I think I crossed over and made it a 5. Oops. Well, maybe not. It's very hard to tell looking in the camera, I tell you. It's very different. I think it's a 6. At least it's still on this side. So if you're going to key, like if you're going to do a high key painting, an example of a high key painting, when would you do something in a high key? If you go look for, you could probably even Google high key paintings. And you're going to find that they look bright and happy and lighthearted, you know. So if that's the mood you want to get across, you know, as we get better at learning these skills in painting, we want to be able to put across our feelings and express ourselves. This is one of the tools you need to do, is to decide ahead of time, what colors do I want to use to portray this joyful, lighthearted feeling? You know, obviously you're going to use happy colors. Well, happy colors tend to be light and bright. So, I mean, I know that's easy, but you would avoid, you would really have that set as your intention when you're mixing up your colors. You would pull out, like when you're setting up your palette, you would not even put, I wouldn't even put black on my palette. You know, maybe your darkest dark would be a blue, maybe an ultramarine blue, and maybe you put out a, you know, a pink, or, you know, or an alizarin, or something, you know, a cool red. And then purple could be your darkest, you know, your darkest dark. And of course you could add white to it, and maybe it's lavender, like some shade of lavender could be your darkest dark in a high key painting. You know, maybe even this could be your darkest dark. This isn't really lavender, but you know what I'm saying. It's not a 6, it's actually darker than that, but if, you know, it's about, wow, this is about a 3. This is about right here. And by the way, there is a class. I do have a color class in the Painter's Journey for you. If you haven't looked at it, not many of you have. I go into a lot of detail on this sort of thing. I don't know if I talk about key per se, but a lot of this value stuff and color stuff is in that color study course with the flag. I think it's called Our Colors. So this would be really a little too dark for a high key painting. So maybe you would go with something like this instead. This would be your darkest. And it would look a little darker because it's cool also. So now this is more like for a high key painting. And if you go look at some Monet paintings, you're going to find that this is his darkest dark. Maybe there's just a couple charcoal gray bits here and there. That's his darkest dark. And of course, that's still okay to do, even in a high key painting, just a little bit of some dark. And then same thing with so a low key painting, sometimes they're called a nocturne, like a nighttime scene. Plein air painters call them nocturnes. That would be the opposite, where it's really, you know, dark colors like this, and maybe just a bit of light, like maybe it's a watery scene, maybe it's a canal, let's say, at night, and the water is dark, but there's a reflection of light from a distant shore, and there's just little bits of light here and there. And that really gives a very dramatic statement, you know, and feeling. So anyway, that was, I went way, way off. If you don't have one of these, you should get one, because I like the keyhole. I really do. They have them on Amazon. I'm pretty sure I sent everybody one of those Richardson cards, which also has a value scale on it. I don't know if I have one laying around right here. You know, the little square Richardson card. You guys know what I'm talking about? Helen is here too. Hi, Helen. And of course, this color wheel. Oh, here's the Richardson card. Oh, and look, here is my color wheel colors, my color wheel paint colors. Here's the, this is by Jack Richardson. And by the way, if you ever decide to teach classes, they sell a bundle of these, like 30 of them for, I forgot how much, $25 maybe. These are very nice, make a very nice giveaway or gift to give to people. So on the back, it's got, you know, mixing tips and information, you know. For a beginner painter, this is nice information, you know. And then there's the value scale. They're using 1%, you know. And then and this would be a fun thing. This is what I teach in our color class. This is a fun thing to do. Go to the paint store and make your own color wheel out of paint chips. That's what this is. So here's my yellow. So we got, these are the 12 colors. Yellow, yellow, orange, orange, red, orange, red, red, violet, violet, and then we cross over into the cool side. So that was red, violet, violet, blue, violet, blue, blue, green, green, yellow, green. Isn't that cool? I don't know if you can see that. And I mean, you know, they're not dead on, but they're pretty close. Look at that. It's pretty close. Oh, this one goes the other way. So that was a really fun exercise to do, and I got these. Let's see, what paint store was this? These are Valspar. These square ones. Some of them I had to go to a different brand. Like this is, I don't know, Lowe's brand. But anyway, you get the idea. I think this is a good reference to have around, especially if you get a little bit off on your colors. Like, you definitely want to be able to know these 12 colors. You know, your eyes need to really know a yellow green from a green, like instantly. You know, like instantly. You know, and you need to look at this color and know this is blue green. You know, this is yellow green. And you know, this is true green, green, green. You know, we need to have that visual vocabulary. We need to know what that is. Here's a true blue. It's not too warm, it's not too cool. You know, when blue starts to get cool, it looks like the next color on the color wheel, which is blue violet. Because then we start going to violet. You know, that's how we get around the color wheel. And when blue starts to get warm, it looks like this. Oh, let me put it this way. So these are the 3 temperatures of blue. Three types of blue: blue violet, true blue, and blue green. Cool blue, neutral blue, and warm blue. Oh wait, I got it the wrong way. I'm so sorry. When we're going towards violet, we're warmer because we're going towards red. Red is warmer than green. Sorry, I do that the wrong way. So let me say it again. I'm so sorry. This is blue in 3 temperatures. We got warm blue, because it looks purplish, neutral blue, true blue, and cool blue. Cool blue would be blue-green. Sorry. That is my shortcoming, if you will. I get those confused to this day. My brain, from the beginning, my brain has always gotten that confused. And I can see why people get confused. Because, you know, you're looking at all these colors, and it's like, well, what's the warmest color on the color wheel? Do you know? I can tell you, artists debate about it, but supposedly, I believe the warmest color on the color wheel, I think, is red-orange, but it's kind of debatable. All of these colors are warm, but what's the warmest? Like, how do you decide, right? You know, Google that sometime and see the articles that you read. I don't know that it really matters, to tell you the truth, so long as you understand that, you know, here's another. I'm gonna confuse you once more. Let me just lay these all out again. So yellow must be a warm color, right? Yellow's a warm color. I'm gonna put the warm on this side now. If I add yellow to blue, wait, hold on. Which goes where? Okay, blue, then blue, green, then green, then green, yellow, green. Okay. I got this blue. You know that if I add yellow to it, I add a warmer color to it, I'm gonna get green. Now, the bias of the color is going to affect how green it looks, how warm it looks, and all of that. This really, it's a cool yellow. In person, it looks warmer than on camera. On camera, it looks like a very cool yellow. And this is a pretty neutral blue. So a cool yellow mixed, it depends on how much you mix, whether you're gonna get this green or this green, right? It just depends, the percentage. Here's my 3 greens. Hold on. Here's my 3 greens, right? My 3 greens. Yellow green, green, and blue green. And I want to make, if I want to make this color, I happen to know from experience that the best way to make this color would be a cool yellow and a neutral blue. Or a cool blue, you know, like phthalo blue. This almost looks like phthalo blue already. Phthalo blue, if you add white to it, kind of looks like this, you know. Whereas if I were to use ultramarine blue, that's more towards this color. It's going to be muddier. So that's why we need to understand and be able to visually identify and know what you should mix to get what you want. Does that make sense? Anyway, that's what that course is designed to help you with. So let me get these all back in here this way. All right, so so today we're gonna do some we're gonna paint a white cup, and we're gonna have this foliage that I showed you. Let me get this out of here. All right, let me get this out of here. Turn the camera up. We're gonna have this in a white cup, okay? And it's just gonna be something like that, right? I don't even know what I'm gonna have in the background yet. And I'm gonna do it, I don't know, I'm gonna start it in watercolor. And if I have to, add acrylic over it or gouache or whatever, that's fine. I'm just trying to convey some teaching principles to you. So red and green like that, I could still do it high key. Let's say we want to make it light and joyful and make it kind of more high key. Then my reds are going to be more pinks. They're not going to be too dark. My greens are, reds and greens can both get very, very dark very quickly. But to lighten them, I can use more of the yellow green because, yellow is another color you can use to lighten, not just white. You can lighten colors with yellow. So I'm just going to use a lot more yellow in my greens. So let's figure out what colors do we want to use. Maybe what I'll do is, before I actually start my real painting, I'm going to figure out my color key, my color scheme, if you will, on one of these things, or I could even just do a new one. Let's just do a new rough one. So, and I just want to loosen up. This will warm me up a little bit too. So I'm just gonna grab a Sharpie marker, and I'm looking at this cup here, and I'm just gonna kind of quickly sketch this out. This is no biggie. This is the kind of thing that no one else really might even see. This is just me doing a quick color scheme. So I'm getting the main. Yeah, gouache is opaque watercolor. Lips for that, this, and okay, kind of put like a highlight on here, back of the cup. We're not going to see the back of the cup. I don't know why I did that. Okay, now I'm going to turn and look at my little vase of, Christine, we're doing this since you just hopped on. I'm going to show you this really quick. This is what we're going to paint today, just some berries and greenery in a cup. And we're talking, and you might want to watch this later and see this whole long discussion I went into about keying a painting. Keying being, you know, deciding ahead of time the colors and the look and the feel that you want to have in your painting, so that it's not just an accident, you know, that you've actually planned it out. And the best way to plan it is to do a quick little color sketch like I'm doing here. And we're going to do high key. Oh, you've been here. Oh, okay. We're going to do high key. I thought Helen was the one that was here before, meaning lighter colors. And so in order to get higher colors, lighter colors, we're going to, we're just going to keep them light. Oh, I know. I want to continue drawing this. So I'm just going to put like little branches of foliage. And then these berries kind of come out. My marker is drying out. So I like to kind of draw the branches first. Foliage back here. And then there's just going to be a ton of berries, right? So maybe the way to approach it would be to put the green foliage in first. You know, so just a quick little, just a quick sketch. Oh, it's upside down. Nope, nope, nope. Wait. So it's just a very rough, quick, simple sketch. And so now I've got some watercolor here. And this is just a really quick thing. So I'm going to try to keep my colors light because I want, and with watercolor, let's face it, the colors stay kind of light anyway. Watercolor never really gets that dark. So I'm just going to wet this. This isn't really meant to be much of a watercolor paper, but want to wet it a little bit. It's probably not going to work real great, but that's okay. Okay, and I'm just going to kind of throw some reds on here. This is not too warm or cool of a red. Throw some greens on here. So I know I'm going to start with like a sap green. And I don't want muddy colors. I've got some yucky, I don't know, brownish stuff going on in here. I'm going to try and get that out of here because I want bright, clean color on a high key painting. We just want to keep this really merry and bright. So I'm not going to really use any browns or black or just nothing too dark. So here's sap green. And of course, I'm going to add yellow to it. It's a very yellowy green. Very, very yellowy greens. And yeah, I mean, that already is light and bright and kind of happy. Right? That was one value. Now I can go just a little bit on the teal side here. Use this like aqua color, and you know, just get, because that's a happy color. Maybe that'll give me just a little bit of depth here and there. And I might get just a little bit of this in the cup too. This aqua color. And that does feel light and happy. Maybe I won't even do a background, you know, and maybe that's it right there. I actually feel pretty good about that. I think I would like some pink in here though. I know pink would make it real happy. Pinks are very happy. Pink, pink, pink. And that is pretty happy. If I need just a little bit of depth, I'm really not going to use an earth tone. I could use a blue. I could make a purple, but I can make a clean purple. Maybe I'll use this pink with like an ultramarine blue. I don't actually have an ultramarine blue on the palette right now, but this is a pretty clean purple. Here and there, you know, because sometimes you do need a little bit of depth. You know, maybe there's a shadow, a little bit of shadow on the cup. So it's just really clean. It's got purple, teal, yellow, green. Instead of saying teal, I should say the colors of the color wheel. I've got a red violet, a yellow green, a blue green, the pink technically would be red. Well, yeah, that's a red violet. Pink is a light red violet. Got yellow green. Actually, this looks like green. So it's all clean, bright color. And that's what I'm going to keep it to for this just joyous, festive look. Key, rather, I should say. All right, so let's go to our actual painting now. I've got my my palette figured out. I could literally put these in swatches right now. Let's put them in order. I've got this color. I've got this yellow green. I've got this tealish color. I mean blue-green, I keep saying that, sorry. I've got a more kind of a violet color. Get that back over here. I'll put that here next to this. And what else do I have? Kind of a red color. Okay, those are my colors. All right, so let's go ahead. Those are all my colors, right? Yes. Let's go ahead and sketch something out on our paper. And you know, you don't have to do this in watercolor. The idea is this could be in any medium, but working on paper is pretty quick. And I love, you know, you can start with pencil. I could let my pencil line show. You could use a gray Sharpie marker, a black Sharpie marker. Probably isn't going to lend itself too well to this. Maybe I'll use, you could even use a watercolor pencil. Let's see. I think I'm going to grab, yeah, I'm going to grab some watercolor pencils. This is just a cheap set of Crayola watercolor pencils. I don't even know if I have a lot of colors in here. But this will kind of dissolve away. So maybe I'll even just use this sky blue color to draw my stuff on here. Okay, so I'm going to put the cup really kind of down low here. The nice thing about this is, you know, you really don't have to worry too much. It's going to all kind of dissolve away. okay? Okay, then I'm gonna look at this foliage. Now, the other thing I didn't really talk about is like center of interest. Gotta kind of figure out a center of interest. And it should usually be in, like if I were to divide this like tic-tac-toe, you know, where would be where the tic-tac-toes cross over each other. One of these 4 points where my fingertips are would be a great focal point. So I think I'm going to go for this one as my focal point up here. And so that's going to be maybe a point of contrast or something like that. I'm not sure yet how I'm going to do it. Contrast is one really good way to do it. Or a more vivid color, you know, or something like that. A sharp edge. Okay, foliage going off this way, this way. Okay, something like that. Okay, so I just have drawn like feathery little things for the greenery. Really just drawing the veins of the greenery, and then I'm gonna make that wet on wet. And then the berries will be some wet on wet and some hard edges. Okay, so we're gonna wet this down first. And, you know, the other nice thing about watercolor is, you know, maybe this will eventually be a bigger painting, or a painting in acrylic, or who knows, mixed media piece. You could do a whole series of these, you know, what fills your cup. That would be a fun idea, wouldn't it? You know, my cup runneth over. What brings you comfort in a cup? I don't know. So the nice thing about using that blue is I can just really kind of soften that up and get a little bit of a base value down. And I'm kind of re-wetting so that I can do my wet and wet, just my soft green foliage. So I'm going to put my soft yellow greens in first. I'm going to grab some yellow. I might even just put the yellow. This yellow is automatically a yellow-green before I've even done anything. I'm going to try and keep some areas that are going to be filled with berries without any of the yellow-green, because of course we know that's going to mute it. So now I want to go just a little bit more, you know, green. Let's drop some of that in. Trying to just keep it really light. So it's going to be a little happenstance as to exactly where my focal point is, because, you know, I'm letting the greens just kind of do what they want to do. Let me put a hint of it down here. And so maybe I'll put a hint of that teal. I liked that tealish color in the cup. Give a little sense of some dimension to the cup, right? And that's probably a good, you know, first layer. Maybe I can get just a bit of a lavender feel going on in here too. Lavender can kind of be a mediator color between the cools and the, you know, the greens and the reds. All right, so that looks pretty good. I'm gonna have to let this dry a little. I could even force it to be dry on some of my berries. I can literally just stop the pigment by doing this. And I've used painter's tape. I do want some red against green to create a nice focal point. So blotting it like this is actually going to lift some of that green, yellow green out of there so I won't have a dull red. All right, that looks pretty good. I'm going to dry this. Hi Trish, so we're just talking about keying a painting and kind of the magic of painting being a color study. You know, doing a color study so that you're going to know exactly what you're going to get. So we did a really quick color study. We decided what colors we're going to use, and we decided on doing a high key, meaning lighter values. These are all going to be values, you know, the lightest values on the color wheel, on the value scale, to create a lighthearted, you know, feeling. And so it's just a cup of berries and Christmas greenery. And this is just my first layer. I mean, even if it doesn't matter what medium you're using, you still want to plan out, you know, the keys of a good painting are that center of interest, having a value pattern. So this, believe it or not, is a value pattern. It's where the values just all touch each other and create a pattern. Big pieces of a value laid down creates your composition. And that's all we did in this first step. So I'm going to go in now and, you know, again, I'm going to look back at my color study. These were the colors that I used. I'm going to keep it light. It needs my reds added in there. I couldn't do the reds while my greens were wet. So, you know, keeping a red light basically means using a pink. So I'm pretty much just going to go with straight pink, I think. And I think another thing that can give a lighthearted feeling to a painting is if it kind of looks effortless and not too messed with. So I'm trying to do that with my brush strokes too. I want to connect these berries because when I look at my reference behind me, and I actually have some berries right behind me, they all do seem to kind of connect. Some of them look purplish. I might be getting a little dark. All right, so those would be my lightest berries. I mean, this almost looks like a floral. Maybe I want to make some of them a little bit more reddish, so I'm going to mix some orange in with this pink and maybe just go back into some or put them alongside. I hope I'm not getting too dark. I'm going to really try to keep it light and airy. Kind of like that C shape I got there. Okay, and then some of them are a little darker. Let's get some that are going off. Okay, so some of them are a little darker. I could probably get some of those in, and that's where I would be using that violet. So I used like a neutral blue with a pink to get a clean violet. And some of my berries really do look violet like this. And then I've got little bits of branches here and there. That I want to try and get in here. And sometimes that's just a matter of putting little hint of a line in between, and that's all you need. Okay, and then I want to add some greens, I think, some green lines. So I'm going to go back to my sap green. You know, it's a yellowy green. And, you know, I'm just going to start putting in more like specific foliage bits, if you will. You know, and that's why I placed those branches so that I could add these bits of foliage, because that's kind of what they look like to me as I'm looking at this. So let me pull up my reference for you again really quick. You know, and this is just a loose interpretation of it, but you know, you see the lacy, you know, the lacy little bits of greenery and whatnot. That's all I'm trying to get in here now. Just lacy, lacy bits, the lacy bits. And again, I don't want it to look too messed with. So I'm really trying to not mess with it too much. And after I have this in here, I'll have a better idea, I think, of what else I need to do. To it. You know, part of what I'm thinking right now is maybe I would have been better off leaving the background. I love that right there, what that's doing. Put this a little closer. And it, you know, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking it looks kind of weak to me. It's not, and that of course is kind of what happens with a high key painting. It's really not my style typically. So I'm looking at it feeling like I'm not totally loving it, because again, it's not my style. I like high contrast and vivid, really vivid color. But I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying doing something different. I really wanted this to be my focal point, and the way that I create focal points is typically contrast. So that's what I'm gonna try and do. I'm gonna put some more purple in there. Go a little darker, hopefully not too crazy dark. And just kind of create a couple of hard edges to pull our eye over there a bit more. That might work. Maybe some splatters to loosen it up a little bit. The cup is really not even there, I feel like. So, but I like the feel of it. So actually, I would like to put some white around that to make that cup appear. So I think I'm gonna switch over into using some, I've actually got some gesso here. So why not? We said we could be mixed media today. That's what I'm going to do. Or, well, you know what? I got some white paint on this plate right here. I'll just use that. So I'm going to be careful not to use my watercolor brush. And let me grab an acrylic brush. Oh, got one right here. So yeah, I'm just going to paint. I'm going to paint some white around this cup handle and see what happens. I love what that did. I actually love what that did. And maybe I will do more up here. Create that contrast around there. Kind of simplifying it. A little thick. Maybe I'll knock these back a little bit. They're still there, but they're not really there. Can add just a little water. Just kind of pushing that all back a little bit. Okay, let me wash my brush out. So it really doesn't look Christmassy. This is too soften that. Because I used pinks, just doesn't look that Christmassy, does it? You can barely tell it's a cup. So let's just get a little bit more. I think I'm gonna grab a smaller, actually I need to dry this, and then I think what I want to do is make it a little more towards the red and some cooler greens here and there, just a little darker. I know it's high key, but it's just not doing it for me. So I'm gonna get a smaller brush. Oh, that's really small. And yeah, I think I just need to get a couple reds in here. And I mean, I could still keep them, you know, light. Try and keep a highlight on them. I kind of like how these look a little faded out. Yeah, maybe that's what it was. Now that I see a couple of them having more, a more definitive shape, I feel like it's more, you know, recognizable what this is. They are all the same size, and I wasn't doing that. So sometimes it's just, you know, something's off and you don't quite know what it is. I guess this is what I do. I just go, okay, back to the drawing board. Let's just render something a little better. You know, what's this missing? So yeah, it helped making the berries bigger and really shaping them a little bit more. I kind of like how loose and soft those are, but this just needed more, to look more like berries. I didn't even realize that. Oh, that's looking a lot better. So yeah, and so you guys, you have the off days. Today is definitely an off day for me. You know, it happens. I will say, having you guys that I know I said I'd be here and do this, it helps me because then I have to kind of get out of my own head and, you know, do what I said I was going to do. But it's very easy to just, you know, say, oh, you know what, I don't have it in me today. I can't do it today. You can, even when you think you can't. I'm here to tell you. I mean, this isn't great, but I think hopefully you know, I'm showing you not everything I do is going to look great. Please don't have that expectation of yourself or of me. You know, but hopefully I can figure out why something isn't working. That's, if I can teach you that, and if I can teach you don't give up, then I've, you know, we've won. You know, we've won the battle. Seriously. All right, maybe these will be pinkish. Anybody kind of feel what I'm talking about today? You have the days. Somebody said off. You know what? I just did an upside down live, so yeah, off. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Exactly. Yeah, I know. It happens. Mama said there'd be days like these, right? Okay, so that helped a lot, and I think now, now I want to balance out the greens. So I'm going to go a little bit. I'm going to try not to get dark. I'm going to try to stay true to my original vision. But you know what? You guys can always change the plan. Nobody, you know, if you're doing this painting and you're struggling and you're like, oh my God, I can't stand high key, then don't do it, you know. I'm going to try and stick with the plan. I know I just need some darks in here. I really do. Especially around this focal point here. I really want to get this beautiful lacy feel of the foliage. That's helping, I think. Yep, that's dark, but you know what? It's gonna lighten up. It's helping. It's giving a lacy feel that I want. Some of them need to go over. Change up that green a little bit. It's easy to keep going with the same color. Just try and stop yourself and just mix up another color. And you know, looking at it now, sometimes it's really an advantage looking in the just make this a wash of yellow back here. Looking in the camera, because you can really see, like sometimes I can just really see I'm starting to overwork this. So I do like it a lot better. I don't love this, but you know, that's okay. Maybe I'll just do a little purple. Here and there. You know, on just a couple of berries. Darken some areas here. See, I tend to like I tend to like it when it just looks a little darker. This isn't even a watercolor brush. Very brutal. Maybe we'll put a little pink in here. In the cup. That might have been a mistake, but oh well. If it is, it is. I put a little bit of like alcohol on there. I just spritzed it with alcohol, and I just want to lighten it just a bit. Yeah, now if we take this off, so what could be a little message that we could have on this one? Oh well, sometimes you have to love your artwork even if it isn't your greatest work. Right? You do. You have to love it anyway. Yeah, high key is not my thing. I could add, you know, white marker in here. I mean, there's some things in here I love. I could certainly like outline and add highlights and all of that. Sharpie. I need a fine one though. Well, this is a Pilot Extra Fine. This might be too fine. But what I like about these berries is there's this, they have these cute little ends to them. I don't know if you can see that. These cute little, you know, ends to the berry. So I'm going to put a couple of those on here. Like right here, like this would be one. So it kind of goes like this. Charlie, get out of here. Distracting me. Go away. Go. There's always something to love about it. Yes, you're right. So that's kind of cool, adding these lines in now. You know, sometimes that is what is gonna kind of bring it to life. I mean, and then I could certainly really distracts me when Charlie comes down here and starts like licking the floor, and it seems like he's eating something and I don't know what it is. So I'm just adding some little bits of line work to it. And I do like what that's doing. Stop it. Oh, he's cleaning himself. That's what he's doing. I like that. Maybe I just need to put, you know, a few simple lines in here and there. And you know, I learned something here. That's the main thing. You know, I guess I learned that I think I might like it better if I didn't have the background filled in. So you know, sometimes it's just a thing like, well, okay, I'm going to do this one again, but now I'm going to do it this way, you know. And, you know, a lot of times too, especially with watercolors, you don't know it, but the artist, let me turn this up. I think I'm pretty much done with this, but very often the artist has manipulated that watercolor in Photoshop or something, and they really changed it and lightened certain things, darkened certain things. They could create a mask, they could add contrast, they could do so. There's so much you could do to this, you know, in Photoshop. You know, you could totally change it around. But it does, I think it does have a light, airy, soft feeling. It's starting to get a little heavy down here. I could certainly use a white paint pen. Let me grab a white paint pen. And this is why I recommend getting these. You can go back in and add the white, and then it's like a mask, and paint it back in, you know, any number of times, you know. So here's, you know, white paint pen. I mean, this isn't sealed. It might lift up a little bit. But I can come back in here. Let me turn this down. You know, add these white highlights back in. Add leaves in here, soften all of this. You know, I could even, you know, use this to make my cup more white if I wanted to. Like, maybe I don't like this after all. I can use this white paint pen to get into those little intricate areas and make it go back to white again. You know, or, you know, strengthen up any areas I need to. So, any questions, you guys? Pink. What did you guys think of my post, you know, about the Messenger app? Nobody's saying anything. I guess I don't really like the purple. The purple got too dark, didn't it? I don't know if this is lighter. Oh no, it's not. You like this? Okay, thank you. You get to where you tune what all out? Oh, the Messenger? Yeah. I know, and I was starting to do that too, which I think is why I'm like, oh, you know, maybe I should say something. And of course, you know, I just feel bad. I don't want to offend anybody or anything, but you know, you guys know. I think you guys know what I'm talking about. All right. And then sometimes you just look at it and you're like, okay, maybe I should just take the parts that I like and put it into another one, because this one's a struggle bus. it's just a little too, I mean, I kind of love this, and I kind of love the black lines on this and this, but I don't like this filled in stuff. Yeah. There's parts to it that I just don't like. So, I don't know. But, you know, my notes on today, what I wanted to get across was, you know, figuring out the main thing you want to get across in your painting, center of interest, where is it going to be, which one of those 4 points. You know, if you take a canvas, divide it up into 6, wherever the lines intersect each other, one of those 4 points should be your focal point. And, you know, what is the key? What color key do you want to use? What color scheme do you want to use? What's inspiring you? Are you inspired to do, maybe it's not high key or mid key or low key. Maybe it's, you saw this beautiful sunset and the warm pink colors of the sky just captivated you so much that you want to do a pink keyed painting. You know, you could certainly do that. Anyway, I am going to let you guys go. Think about that. Think about center of interest. Think about your value pattern and composition. The feel you want to get across. Today we did a high key painting. It's lighthearted. It's you know, it's festive, it's fun, you know. It doesn't have a deep impact, and that's okay. You know, not every painting has to do that. You know, do you want to do mostly cool colors, warm colors? The thing you want to get to is to try to use a palette of colors that you get to know really, really well. Colors, tubes of color that you know what you're going to get when you mix them. You know how to get a yellow green. You know how to get a beautiful teal green blue, you know, because you've been using these colors in all of your work. And then you can expand and add more colors, but get to where you're really comfortable using a small number of colors to make a small number of tubes of paint, I should say, to make a lot of different colors. And then you want to use the colors that express your meaning in your painting. That maybe that would be a great goal for next year, you know. Or you know, maybe you want to focus on, you know, how can I streamline myself so that I'm not redoing my paintings? I get to the end and I can't stand it. Well, color studies. How can I incorporate more color studies? Yeah, it's always red, yellow, and blue. And I'm going to get more specifically into that because there are so many different red, yellows, and blues. Again, we were talking about that, I'm forgetting the word. If a blue leans towards purple, what is it called again? When it leans to a certain shade of temperature. You know, like a Hansa yellow is a cool yellow. You might want to have a cool yellow, a neutral yellow, and a muted yellow in your palette. You know, I do. But you might find that that doesn't work for you. You know, that's the whole thing, is getting to where you know which primaries are going to give you what colors. You know, there's neutral blues, cool blues, and warm blues. Same thing with yellows and reds. So we're going to get more specifically into that in the coming year, and we're going to do more palettes with different reds, yellows, and blues, different primaries to see what we get. So that's something to look forward to. That's a big deal. And then, you know, also I want to start painting thicker to get more of that oil paint feel. I want to start using a lot more paint so that I get soft edges. You know, if you lay down gobs of paint, your edges are going to stay wet for up to an hour. You'll have a lot more working time. And, you know, just avoiding really adding water at all, maybe using a palette knife for some things, and laying on thick pieces of color. You can come back in and rework them. You can always scrape off if a color goes wrong on you, save it in a little pill box. Nothing is ever wasted. You can use all those grays for something else eventually, but definitely want to start working more with like a palette knife, using thicker paint, doing more color studies, talking a lot more about composition and expressing the feeling that you want to express in your paintings. That's kind of where I want to go next year. So anyway, you guys, thank you for joining me here. Please comment below if you've got any questions or thoughts on this lesson, and certainly what you'd like to see next year. And that's it. Have a great day. I'll talk to you later. We're still going to have our Zoom meeting tomorrow morning, I believe. I will post later in the messenger about that. Okay, bye.